Hello and welcome to A Cat in the Garden. It's been quite a while, so I figured we would do a little propagation check-in. I am winding down on my plant shop for the end of the season. I typically close it around December 1st. I am going to be having a Black Friday sale, should be running that whole week through Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all of that, and that'll kind of be the last hurrah for the season for my plant shop. I cannot believe it has been 4 years that I've had this plant shop. Next year will be 5 years of having a plant shop, so that is crazy. I never could have imagined that I would be doing this for fun and just having a little plant shop and it doing so well. So that is really something to celebrate. I'm so proud of myself for keeping it going for that long. But even though that is winding down and I'm trying to get rid of as many of these cuttings as I can before the end of the season, I am looking ahead to the next season, and I'm looking ahead to a potential move because due to the military, we will be moving next year, probably later in the fall. So I gotta start thinking about which plants are coming with me and which plants are not. And so these cuttings gotta go, and like some of these plants gotta go, the ones that I just am not in love with anymore. And it is really cool, I will say, like it is hard getting rid of some of these plants, but then when I get to a new location, I'm a little bit down on numbers on plants. I realize, oh, I've got all this room and I can go plant shopping and exploring all the new places. And that's what we did here. I actually took Nutmeg to Wild Roots with me once. He's been to Tillery. So it is fun in its own way, getting to discover new plants through a new place. And yes, I do have to say goodbye to some plants sometimes, but I also fall out of love with some of the plants, and it's nice to send them off to a new home. I have done that. I have sold off a couple of mother plants already, but for now, we're gonna check up on all of my cuttings. Nutmeg is being so good right now. He's just chilling in my hand, but I'm gonna let him go so that we can get a little bit done, and we'll check up on the cuttings, see what's made it, what hasn't made it, what we have room for, because I have sold a few in the past month. So we'll just do a little bit of TLC on these prop boxes and go from there. The first prop box here is entirely Scindapsus Platinum. And these were starting to put out leaves when I put them in here. They weren't very well rooted. And I will say they are doing so well. This one has 2 roots coming out of the node there. Got a ton of new root growth. They all have a leaf right now. They don't have more than 1 leaf, but so much root growth. So I'm very happy with the progress that they are making. I actually gave one away, and I'm thinking that these from now on might start to be my freebie plants just because I have so many of them. Typically, if you buy a Hoya, I try to do a freebie Hoya, but if you buy something that's not a Hoya, I try to do, you know, a Philodendron Monstera Scindapsus as the freebie, just because I have so many of these. I'm thinking these will be the freebies for the future. So if you like these, if you want to get a little freebie Scindapsus, they're going to continue to grow. They do really well, low humidity or high humidity. I just propagate them in pretty high humidity just to get them jump started. But these will be the freebies. So this is what you have to look forward to. If you want to buy one, I will have some bigger ones in my shop. They typically have 2, 3, 4, 5 leaves. So they're all going to be bigger. And then when I open my shop for the spring, a lot of those cuttings are going to be more like full established plants. So I'll probably have a few of those available, but I'll be giving cute little cuttings with 1 to 2 leaves as freebies away as well. Like I said, I did give one away already. So I am going to take a node out of here, one that hopefully has sprouted a growth point. There's a few in here that have, and just put it in with the rest of those just to keep that prop box full, get the nodes rotating out of here. This is supposed to be all Scindapsus Platinum, but I found a little cutting that's got a leaf that is not a platinum. So it's either a tricolor or a silver lady. Those are the only 2 other Scindapsus I propagated this year, but I unfortunately did not label it. And this is one of the few times which I have forgotten what it is. So I'll have to see when that plant grows out. Right now, it's looking more like a tricolor. The leaf is just so tiny, so it's not going to show up on camera at all, but I will take one of these nodes out. This one looks pretty good. And I'll get that into a pot so I can add it to the rest. There's a little root on that one. So I can add it to the rest of the props in there. As they grow, I like to give them more and more space. That way they just do better in general. They like to grow up, and then once they get big enough, I kick them out of prop boxes altogether and put them on the propagation shelf. And then they get listed usually, or given away, either way. So this little guy is just gonna sit on top. I don't think I will need a prop pin for it. I'm gonna add a little bit of moss as well, just to the top. So he looks like this, and he'll go join the others in the prop box. Speaking of my little node clamshells, these are doing so well. They do need water though. So I do have my watering can filled up. This is Philodendron subhestatum and El Chaco Red. My subhestatum unfortunately had to be chopped up due to some thrips issues. It is doing so much better now. It basically lost all of its leaves. The thrips are gone. I treated all of that, and all of the nodes that I took, almost all of them took to the propagation, and they're growing super healthy leaves. And then the stump that was left actually sprouted 2 or 3 growth points, and it's looking super healthy as well. So I think the plant just needed a full reset. It is a little bit unfortunate just because the plant was so big. It actually had more mature leaves, and it was one of the plants I was most proud of in my collection. But this means it will be easier to travel with next year. So there's some pros and cons to that. I do also have El Chaco Red in here. I did have a funeral for that in my houseplant funeral video, but I was able to save some cuttings. These will be probably given away just because El Chaco Red is such a difficult plant to work with, but I can tell the ones in here that are velvety are the El Chaco Red, and I did label the clamshells this time. So it is nice to see that these plants are doing well. I'm just gonna fill this up with some water because it was looking a little dry. Some of these subhestatum cuttings will be ready to move on to a bigger prop box soon. I'm thinking about probably keeping one to add it back in with the mother plant, but the rest, once they can show that they're growing in a really healthy way and they get a bit bigger. With philodendrons, I don't typically do it by the number of leaves that they have. Unlike Hoya, I wait till they get mature enough basically to list in my Etsy shop. So I'm just gonna wait for those. They're coming along really well, and they're propagating a lot faster than I thought they would. Maybe it's just because I'm so used to Scindapsus nodes being so slow, but these are really, really quick, which is awesome. I've got another box here that needs some water, but it's also doing really well. So this is Bipennifolium Splash Gordon. It's philodendron as well as Philodendron Rio. So all of the ones that look obviously variegated here are the Rio. There's a really nice leaf in the back here, which if this plant continues to have that high variegation, I'll probably keep that one. I did have one that looks reverted here. It's got an all green leaf, but pretty much all of the others have shown variegation. And then I have been taking out the Splash Gordons as they mature. So there's not as many left in here. And right now they look all green. It is a plant that I believe was originally variegated due to a viral mutation. So I have, even though I have some bigger ones, I haven't listed them on my shop yet because I'm trying to see how the variegation is going to present itself. And my mother plant has started growing back and it still stayed variegated, but I just haven't really seen it so far on these little ones. So it's more of an experiment. There is on this leaf like a tiny, tiny bit of variegation. So I don't know, it's a cool experiment, but I don't want to sell these and then they end up not being variegated at all. I'd be very disappointed if I bought one that was variegated and then it wasn't. So I just want to make sure that they are actually going to continue to be variegated. I don't see why they wouldn't be as they mature, but I just want to be sure. So that it has been fun to watch them grow. They haven't started to get their bipennifolium look yet. Most philodendrons have a very just classic leaf look when they're small, and then as they mature they'll get the unique philodendron leaf shapes. But this does need water as well, so I don't think there's any plants I want to take out of here at the moment, but I'm just gonna water very quickly in here. I haven't offered Philodendron Rio in a long time. In fact, I think I've only offered cuttings once or twice the entire time I've owned my Rio because I just don't like to chop it. But 2 years ago it got thrips and it became a mess. So I ended up propagating a lot of nodes from that plant and stripping a lot of the leaves off as a way to preserve it. And so I've got more things that are, maybe it was last year, it wasn't 2 years ago, probably last year. So I'm gonna have more cuttings that are available. These look so healthy, and the variegation, except for the one, looks really, really nice. So I am happy about how they're coming along. And then I do have in one of my prop boxes a philodendron from the original cuttings I took of the Rio, that it's lived in a prop box for 2 years, 3 years, and I want to move it out, but I also don't, because it's like my safe one. It's my backup philodendron Rio, because it's my favorite, my absolute favorite heartleaf philodendron. I cannot imagine not having one in my collection. So maybe I'll just end up having two, one trailing, one climbing. That would be really cool. But for now, it's just living in a prop box. You'll see it shortly. So here it is, actually. I didn't realize it was in the next prop box that I had. This is a 2 or 3 year old plant, and I feel so bad. It's just like curling in on itself, but it's just so safe in a prop box. So I haven't brought myself to kick it out. And these are some of my bipenniformium / Gordon that are getting bigger. So the leaves really are maturing quickly on these plants. They're growing really quickly. I only propagated them a couple months ago, and I feel like they're decent sized plants. I'm like so proud of myself for growing these from nodes. Like none of these had leaves. And then I've got some tricolor Scindapsus here as well. They do have 2 leaves, which is typically my requirement to list a Scindapsus in my shop, but they're just so small. I don't know. I wouldn't want to receive a plant that small. So I feel like I'm gonna wait until those are mature. So that'll probably be in the spring when I end up listing those. I think giving them 3-4 months to mature a bit will help. I also have if I can get it untangled here. Oh no, it's rooted in with another plant. Okay, well I have a Plowmonii, and then this is one of my Halo Micans. I'm still working on potentially listing some of these. I still haven't decided which ones I want to keep. I can't believe I don't have a mother plant for this yet. That's got to be on my to-do list for this winter. I need to make a solid mother plant out of one of those. And then I do have a Hoya Hollyana. I have 2 cuttings of this plant left. I bought a huge basket a year or 2 ago, 2 years ago. And 2 cuttings is all I have left. Do not recommend spending hundreds of dollars on a plant that's just gonna mostly die off. But it's got new growth on it, so that's cute. It lives in a prop box. It will not survive outside of a prop box. So there's that. I mean, there's room in here, but there's a lot going on in this prop box currently. This prop box is getting pretty empty, and that's because a lot of the Hoyas have sold out of it. This is probably gonna get trashed. That leaf on this, oh gosh, Fitchii. This is a Fitchii plant that I'm trying to get rid of, mostly giving it away, but clearly it's not doing well. Okay, so that's probably gonna get thrown out. It does have some active growth points, so I might wait and see if it survives, but if I need the space, it's probably gonna get tossed. I do have this Matilde, which is currently in my shop, and it grew a new leaf. It is super cute and splashy, so that's doing really well. When the plants are smaller, I keep them in the prop boxes longer, even if I do list them. I've got a few Vitellinoides. Oh no, just one. This will have to grow a bit. The roots are really great on these plants. I have not checked on them in a little while, but I do wait for plants like those to have a few more leaves before I list them. I've got a Regitafolia here. I don't cut this plant often. I think I've only offered it once before in my shop. That one is currently in the shop. I have a Sigillatus round form. I'm trying to make a mother plant for that again because I chopped up the entire plant. I do have some in my shop, not that one. That one I think I'm keeping, but I am working on deciding what I want my mother plant to look like, which cuttings I want to save. I always have Parasitica Black Margin, and then this is Pubic Calyx Royal Hawaiian Purple. I would like for it to grow another leaf before I list that as well. So some of these, oh, this is a Regita also. Some of these are rooted enough that they could probably move out of this prop box, meaning this will be very empty, even emptier than it is right now pretty soon. But I gotta see how much room I have in there. I haven't checked the shelf in a while with all my props. So we'll see. They're mostly doing well, except for that Fitchii, but not really attached to that plant at all, so I don't really mind if that one dies. I know that sounds horrible, but I don't mind. Here I have the remainder of my philodendron carnival cuttings and then a couple odds and ends. So these are actually getting really big. I could probably list all of these. Oh my gosh, what? That is gorgeous. I don't want to list that. What? Oh my, that is beautiful. This one's going mostly yellow, so we'll see. That'll probably be a freebie. This one's very high variation as well, but I don't think it's going all yellow. So that is gorgeous. This one's a little small still, so that'll be in the spring. And this one looks pretty nice as well. Wow, these have grown up quite a bit. This is what happens when you don't check on your cuttings for a month or two. I do have an Affinity Serpents that hates life. I don't know if that one is gonna make it when we move. That one might get tossed because it's just never been happy. I have what's left of my OG White Knight. It's just 2 cuttings. I don't know, it looks really depressing, so I don't think I'm gonna keep that either. I do have a Cebu Blue cutting. I have very random Cebu Blues. I don't have a mother plant, just random cuttings here and there all around my plant room. And I actually have one in my living room too. So yeah, super random, but this one looks really healthy. And then this, I believe, is a philodendron, or not philodendron. This is a Scindapsus platinum, but it's like a top cut. So very random prop box here, but I am so stoked to look at those carnivals. Maybe I'll have a trailing plant. I already have one climbing. You guys, we repotted that together. Should I have a trailing one too? I love Hartley philodendron, so maybe I should, because those look so pretty. I've got another pretty empty prop box here as well. I mean, not totally empty, but it is gonna lose a couple plants in here pretty soon. So this is a very big prop box. This is my Ploumanii mother plant, and it loves life in the prop box. It has not loved life out of the prop box, and I don't know why, but it's climbing. This is supposed to be a crawling plant, but this is very clearly climbing. So it is super root bound. I am going to up pot it soon, but leave it in this prop box. I know that's so bad, but I'm gonna wait as long as possible to take this out of a prop box because it's just been doing so well. I've never gotten it to be this big. I got it as a cutting, as a gift, and it's almost died 3 times. So this is the best it's ever looked. I'm so proud of it. I also have some Hoya cuttings that were just really tall, but they are growing so well. That was a Parasitica Black Margin. This is a species Laos. This is a plant that I typically just use as a freebie. I have a few of these, if I can get it untangled here, Halomycans, because they were growing pretty tall as well. This is, oh my gosh, Verticillata, acuta, something like that, but it's an Alba marginata. I bought this, rooted it. It was doing okay, then it died back a bit, so I put it in the prop box and I put out a new set of leaves. So that should be ready to leave the prop box soon. And then I have a variegated heartleaf that reverted, and I was thinking about maybe chopping it up for freebies, but I also could just give it away, the whole thing. I don't know. We'll see. It's been doing okay. So I haven't really decided on that one, but that is one of my tall prop boxes. This is like the last prop box that plants go in before I just throw them to the wolves, to the plant room, or to the shelf. So we have the clamshell, we have the medium prop box, and this is my large prop box. I probably could do like giant bins if I had the space, but they're also like not very aesthetically pleasing, and this is a guest room as well as my plant room, so I have to make everything look nice. Otherwise, my husband will be a little bit upset about that. So I try to keep it as nice as possible. Some days it looks better than others. Right now, the plant room looks pretty good, I will say. It's looking pretty good here. I am excited to actually do some stuff with these cuttings. So this is the last prop box, and this is not plants that I really am thinking to sell. Like, these are plants that just get shoved in this prop box because this is This is a crazy prop box. Like these plants, okay. So this is an aglaonema and it has very much outgrown this little cup. A lot of these plants here are like, I don't want to deal with it. And I just shove them in here. So this is like a very rare look into these plants. This is also a cutting from my original philodendron silver sword. Why does it look so cute? What the heck? That is adorable. Also probably really, yeah, outgrown this. So maybe one day I'll do a video of like actually fixing the plants in my prop box. The last cutting of my original pink princess that I paid $200 for in 2020. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this thing is still alive, but that needs a repot so badly. I have a Plowmonii, actually, little cutting. That's doing okay. There's so many dead leaves in here too. This is wild. And a Splendid that was a single node that grew into an absolute just bush. I don't know how this happened, but I don't really know what I'm doing with it either. And then I have a ton of these. Unfortunately, this one went all yellow, so the leaves are dying. Variegated Aureomycans that just didn't pan out. This one I thought was reverted, and then it randomly put out a half moon leaf. So we'll see if I can do something about that, because I still don't have a properly variegated one of these. What is this one? This one also went all yellow, unfortunately. And then finally, this one I thought had the most promising variegation, but it completely reverted. So this might be a freebie, because I don't know. Maybe I could make myself, I need new plants for my living room and my bathroom space. And I've been looking at heartleaf philodendrons for that because they're great trailing plants, that and pothos. That's really what I want as my common space plants for the most part. Could just use these. It's like if I don't have to go buy one, they'd be free. So we'll see. They're really healthy. Mycans is such a spider mite magnet, so I don't know. So that's the craziness of this prop box. Whew. Stresses me out a little bit looking at that one, because that means I got some work to do there. I'm probably gonna come back on a different day and get some new cuttings in these. We did already take out one cutting to put in a bigger prop box, but I will water everything on the shelf and show you that really quickly, and then we'll just come back on a different day and get a lot of the actual like brunt of the work done with these propagations. So here's the propagations shelf. This is where all of my philodendron and scindapsus live, just so that they don't get overwatered. I also have a rehab orchid back there. So I've got scindapsus platinum, variegated heartleaf philodendron, bipennifolia splash Gordon, a bunch of carnival, couple really random Hoya there, and then all of the rest of the Hoya live here. I've got a couple that I have in much bigger pots, and then this top level is mostly my freebie plants, but I've got some other plants like the Sigillatus round leaf, Reticulata. I think this used to be considered heartleaf splash. Yeah. Got Incrusata, Pubic Calyx Royal Hawaiian Purple. Definitely need a little bit more water in here. I'm gonna have to go refill the water. Down here, I've got some of the cooler plants, in my opinion. I've got Vitellinoides. This Obovata is a personal collection plant. I have Hoya Chicken Farm, which I'm deciding for my personal collection. I've got a Nictine, which is so beautiful and bushy. I have Lacanosa Louise's Silver, which I am probably gonna keep both of these. Yeah, I'm out of water, so I'll have to get more water for that. A lot more of the Parasitica Black Margin. Some of these though have really nice silver leaves on them. And then the Hanhier is for my personal collection as well. And then down here, this is a little sparse. I do need to fill these up, but I typically put smaller leaf Hoya in here to propagate. So I do have that Hollyana I was talking about. I have a bunch of Lacanosa that are growing really well. There's an Endoensis from my personal collection, a Carrii that just won't die, and a Peregrine Durian that also won't die. But those mint coin, I think one of them is actually on my Etsy shop currently, so they're doing really well. And then these are also some personal collection plants that I've chopped back, and these are like the butt cuts. So this is a CV viola, obovata, and a sigillatus round form. I need to repot all of these, but they're just hanging out here for now. Got to get some more water, but this is what the propagation shelf looks like currently. So I had some more time this afternoon to work on these plants, and I decided there's a couple that are ready to go into the shelf out of these prop boxes permanently. I've got a Hoya species louse as well as another Hoya parasitica black margin. The only thing I really do differently to move them and transition them out is I just put holes in the bottom because I bottom water all of those props. It has made life so much easier. Not having to water individually every single propagation I have is a game changer, truly. So if I can get these untangled, I think there's more that I might want to move. I have to check, but I just looked at my large prop boxes and these were the ones that were ready to leave, at least in terms of plants that I want to stay propagations. I do have that variegated Hoya that I'm keeping for my personal collection that I will be taking out eventually. But for now, I just like to put 3 or 4 holes in the bottom. I find that this little pocket knife is the best for that. I'm sure there's other methods that work as well. Just with the tools I have, this is what works. I try to be careful not to break the Hoya leaves, but sometimes it is harder than others to get holes going in the bottom here. Here we go. So those are done and they're ready to move on. They've got new growth on them. This one I will probably chop for these cuttings that I typically give away or sell. I like them to be more compact for shipping. This is just very lanky, so this will probably get a chop at some point. It's fine. I have another future freebie. I don't really sell these. I just give them away. And then this one will probably be listed in my shop in the spring because this is not quite hardened off yet, but these are ready to go to the shelf where they're going to live for this foreseeable future. I've also decided I'm going to move this Mathilde out. I'm going to put it in one of the little Target greenhouses that I have. I'm not going to poke holes in the bottom because those aren't bottom watered. I could probably move it into the shelf, but I'm starting to run out of room there. I have to rearrange some things, up pots and things for my personal collection. So this I'm going to put in the Target greenhouse for now, but I think it'll be ready to go on the shelf soon. It's just a smaller plant, so I feel like it could use a little bit of a humidity boost. It's not going to hurt, so that's where it's going to go for now. That means I do have room for some new props in my prop boxes. I have water props that have been in here for far too long, as they always are. It only takes a couple weeks for these to be ready to move to my prop boxes, but I end up leaving them in here for probably a month or two, sometimes longer. These are ready to go. I have a few cups that I filled with leca. They're ready, and I'll have to see if I have room for more than 3. I'm not sure. I have a lot of prop boxes doing all sorts of different things right now, but I can at least get 3 moved over, and these will definitely be propagations for the spring. So I have some of the Hoya species louse cuttings. I have a CV viola as well as a Vitellinoides. Now they have slightly longer stems, some of them, so those might have to go in the larger prop box, but the rest of them are going to go in the shorter prop boxes. It's just whatever fits where. I'll start by filling these up with some pre-soaked moss and some perlite. That's my favorite way to propagate, with a little bit of leca for drainage at the bottom. I find it's pretty much foolproof, though occasionally you always have plants that don't make it. It's just a part of propagating and owning houseplants. But I think it works really well, especially with the high humidity prop boxes. I would like to, as a project one time, maybe after we move, just make an entire bin prop box, kind of like my clamshells, that's just lined with moss and perlite, and then propagate from there. Sometimes there's little dirt and things, twigs in the moss, so I like to get rid of that if I see it. Here's another one. But that is pretty full, so those are ready to go for my plants. I think I will try to pick the shortest stemmed ones first. So here's a species louse cutting. I might move some of this moss until I get this in. Yep, there we go. Fill it back up with the moss and perlite as I make even more of a mess. My husband just vacuumed in here too. He's gonna be so happy with me, but that's all right. So that looks pretty good. Ready to go in the prop box, so that'll be a freebie. These are pretty well rooted, so it could be a freebie with my Black Friday sale, but other than that, it'll probably be a freebie in the spring. There are varying levels of how rooted these cuttings are. It's kind of crazy given how much they've been in the same environment. But this one is really rooted as well. So maybe because these have shorter stems, they didn't get as much of the water. So maybe I'll transition them first. I'll have to get another cup for that last one. I miscalculated how many cuttings I had. So this will go in pretty easily. That is the Vitellinoides cutting. And this is the CV viola. Also a little bit of a shorter stem, but that should be just fine. I might have to put a little bit more moss just to bury it. Yeah, just bury that in there. I might get a prop pin too. Like most of my plant care essentials, these are from Propagation Diaries. I absolutely love all of their products. And I did get another cup ready for this one, which had the most roots out of all of them. Of course, it's the ones that I plan on being freebies that root the best. That's all right. That means you're gonna get a really well-rooted freebie if you order from me. So that is not a terrible thing. And I think the freebies, people seem to really like them. I also think it is a great way for me to narrow down some of the plants in my collection, especially with the move. I'm really going to be downsizing, so it just helps out a lot with that. The less plants I can move with, the easier the move will be. That just was my experience with the last move that we did. We moved with a trailer and it was almost entirely filled with plants, and a lot of them didn't make it. The alocasias didn't do well. What else? The calatheas did not do well either. All of them died except for one, and the marantas all died. So I don't really have many of those left in my collection anyway. I'm not anticipating the anthurium are going to do well. And then surprisingly, my large plants actually do well. So we'll see. I am trying to make them more manageable sizes for moving because it's stressing my husband out just a little bit, seeing that I have 5-foot tall plants now. I did not have that for our last move. So it'll be an adventure, but this is just good preparation. I know it's about 10, 11 months from now, but we got to start thinking about it because there are a lot of plants in this room and I would like to be the least stressed about the move as possible. I'm going to fit what I can into this prop box. I'll see. This one looks like it's going to fit with the somewhat tall stem, but I don't think the other two will. There is room in here for one more. Plus, I do have a cutting in here that might be on the verge of death. So we'll have to see about that. But those fit. I actually haven't looked. I think I remember when we looked at these the other day, some of them were very well rooted and can possibly come out. Yes, so I have to see if I have room on the propagation shelf. It's getting a little full at the moment, so these might have to stay in here, but at least I know that they're ready to move out soon. And then these two, which had the shortest stems, but the tallest, I guess, stems also. They're the tallest above the pot. They are going to move into this prop box. That is a bit taller, a bit roomier. Plants that are in here tend to stay in here a little bit longer too, but that's all right. So this one is actually full now, which is great. Until I repot something or something leaves, but like I said, things tend to stay in there for a little bit longer. I also have these two little cuttings that I have been rehabbing. I have a Hoya LYI. I'm not sure if it's pronounced Lee or Lie, but it was not doing well. I think there's something wrong with the root system of the mother plant. I took these two cuttings off. They were so shriveled up, and just being in water for about a month and a half, they have completely healed and there is new growth on it. There's great roots here. And so I want to put them in the Target greenhouses. That's where I put my smaller plant cuttings anyway. I'm gonna put them together. I might actually try to keep this plant because it's really cute, it's fuzzy, it is doing a lot better. So I have a small prop cut for it. I know one of the, actually both stems are pretty long, but I might put them on their sides. Yes. So I'll use prop pins, but I'm gonna try to lay them on their sides. I just think that'll be better if I can get them in that greenhouse. I've said this before, but I really use my Target greenhouses for plants that are struggling, that really need the extra humidity, and smaller leaf Hoyas, of which I have a lot. So whenever I propagate a smaller leaf Hoya, that's how it starts out its new life, is in one of those greenhouses. And then these, they were smaller leaf Hoyas, but they had longer stems and they really needed to rehydrate in water. I think that was the correct call to make sort of an exception to my usual rule. I might not actually need prop pins for this. It looks a little silly at the moment, but everything is in there. So this will be added to that. I'm really happy that that propagation went well because the plant was so unhealthy. I wasn't sure how that was gonna do, but it seems to be doing great. I mean, I got new growth in water. That's awesome. So maybe I'll be able to save this plant after all. The mother plant looks so bad. It's about dead. I might try to take one more cutting from it. It was pretty small anyway. And the fact that both of these cuttings survived was unexpected. So I can make a new plant out of that, but if I'm able to save a little bit more from the mother plant, that would be awesome too. So we'll see. This is what's left of it. It doesn't look awesome, but I will try. There's enough of a tiny stem to try. Propagate that in water. I don't know. I can maybe cut. Oh, this is just, that's why there is no roots left on this plant. Okay, I might try to put this whole thing in water. There's just not a single root left on there. Didn't even need to cut it out. So it's the last ditch effort. If it doesn't go well, I've got the new props already. That is what's left. That's gonna go in water and we'll see. We'll just see what happens. Got this one as well. I gotta fill this back up, but hopefully I get the same results and then I'll have an even bigger plant. That'd be awesome. Finally, I would like to make some space in my propagation shelf. I have so many chicken farm cuttings. I have six of them. 2 are in one pot, so 5 pots. And I have just been putting these off for so long. I need to make a mother plant. I don't have one at the moment, and that was the purpose of these cuttings. They're so well rooted, it's not even funny. Those are the roots on these. So I have a lot, I just have not ever decided what I want to do with them. So I need to make a mother plant, and then the rest of them will be eventually added to my shop. They've been doing well ever since I chopped up my plant and made a bunch of little plants out of it. So I'm done putting this off. We need to put them in a new pot together. And that way I can finally, after about a year, have a chicken farm mother plant again. I love this plant. There's so much wonderful texture on the leaves. It is a really nice Hoya. I know it's kind of late in the day, so the lighting isn't the best. It's very splashy, really cool, rough texture to it. I just need to decide which ones I like the best. Which ones I want to keep, which ones I don't want to keep. This one I probably won't. There's some slight cosmetic damage here, but it's fine. I don't know. This one I don't think I want to keep. It's not my favorite of the bunch. So that one eventually. This one that is the double plant, I think I will keep. I really like the root system. It's coming out of the pot, but that's okay. I'm gonna keep one of these single leaves. They're both really nice though. So I have those, and then I have this one, which already has 2 leaves, which means I could probably list it. So I might do that and keep the 2 single leaves here. That actually might work out pretty well. So I'll keep 3 of the pots. This has 2 plants in it, so that's 4 of the 6 plants. And they will make a new plant that is hopefully really bushy. I would love to get it up a trellis. That is my eventual goal. But for now, I need to see if I can get all of these untangled. The first one came apart pretty nicely. There's a little bit of moss and leca stuck to it, but not too bad. We'll see about the other 2. They are much more rooted, so I'm a little nervous. This one, as expected, it's got a bit more to it, but that's fine. It's 2 plants. Gotta keep telling myself that's okay. And then this one, oh, unfortunately, this is why I don't like nodes underneath the surface. Oh, that is so unfortunate. There is a node growing up the plant. It's actually just reaching the surface there. You can see it. It looks like a thick root, but it's not. That is crazy. I don't know how much I'll be able to separate out of here. Maybe if I just get some of the gross moss from the top. Once it gets really gross and green, I tend to toss it. It just gets a little slimy, which I don't love. So that's gonna go. But especially with the new growth, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to separate much out of here. I feel like I'm breaking so many roots, but it does have a lot to spare. That is very well rooted. This is what I mean when I say I leave these plants in for way too long, because they're doing fine, and I think, oh, I'll just do it later and do whatever is the biggest emergency first, and then I end up with a plant that is way too rooted. Okay. I think that's all I'm gonna be able to do unless I can squish some leca out here. There's a couple pieces I can squish out. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to squish all these roots together. Pot everything up. Okay, remove that. And we'll just see how they all fit in here. I might need to throw some moss in the bottom. Just do that now. These aren't super deeply rooted. That'll go on the side. Then I'll add these 2. And lastly, this one, because it has the smallest root system, it should fit in pretty nicely. And then I will just need to fill it in with some moss and perlite, which I have. Just throw a bunch of perlite on top. Maybe squish it down the sides a little bit. And then some moss. Hopefully I don't cover up too much of the plant here. With a little more perlite on the very top. And of course some fertilizer, because I'm trying to be better about fertilizing my plants. So let me grab that. Half of a Miracle Grow stick in here. I don't actually have a name tag for this plant, so I'll have to make one. This is how it looks. Yes, this is a lot of roots on one side, but I think it'll be okay. It's got a lot of room to grow. And then I'm gonna put it in the pot that had my orchid that I'm currently rehabbing. So that is how it looks. It's a little bit roomy. The pot doesn't quite fit exactly, but I don't mind that very much. So hopefully it starts growing soon. It does not need any water right now because the moss is very wet, and I had it watered the other day, bottom watered all of the plants on the shelf. So I don't think it needs any new water at the moment. Everything looked fine there. And then I will give the other two a little bit of TLC if they need it, put them back in the propagation shelf, and think about listing them for my Black Friday sale. This will probably be a project for another day, but I think I have outgrown this soccer greenhouse and I might get rid of it. I have a couple of really sad, thirsty props in here and one anthurium, and I feel like they would do fine outside of this, and I would like to use the space on that shelf for some of my Pokemon card binders. So I think this is gonna go. I don't know, should I take it with me to our next duty station and see if I can use it somewhere? Then I just have to like put it in a closet for a year. So I don't know, should I get rid of it or hold on to it and see if I have a use for it down the road? Let me know what you think. I'm really on the fence about whether or not I should just tear this apart right now. For some reason, this particular cutting did not feel wet, like it's not getting watered. So I don't think, well, the holes in it seem to be a decent size. I'm gonna make another one. It's got 3 holes. Just make one more. It's just not getting the benefits of the bottom watering at the moment, so it's a little dry. This one is completely fine. I'll refresh some of the moss at the top because it's a little green, just because of the highlight. It's the only reason why it gets green, and it truly doesn't get that gross for quite a while, probably at least 6 months. But especially when I'm selling a plant, I like to put nice fresh moss on the top, just so that it looks pretty. I think it looks more appealing with the non-green moss personally. And then this one, it's not as well, it's got a nice root right there, but I want to try and get some of the old moss off of this one, even though it's really dry. Give it fresh moss, a little bit of TLC, and then put them back. That already looks better to me, but you can see the difference between the dry moss and the wet moss. So I'll give it a little bit of water on the shelf, but hopefully this will perk right up soon. So that's all for these propagations. I try to do a little bit here and there as I find the time. There's so much more I could do right now, honestly, but I'm running out of daylight, need to start dinner soon, and probably clean up the mess that I've made in this plant room. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If you like this video, make sure to give me a thumbs up down below and subscribe so you don't miss anything from me here on the channel. Thanks again, and I'll catch you in the next one.